Hello everyone, this is the first in the series that I wanted to do about more difficult characters and not just how to play them necessarily because there are plenty of videos on that, but how to have fun with them. And I know a lot of people came over to For Honor from Dark Souls, so they kind of enjoy the masochistic hard gameplay, but here are some tools that I use with Shaolin to kind of make him a lot more enjoyable, especially in fours and in duels as well. It should be noted here too that I'm not going over a lot of fighting game concepts such as how to read somebody, but I am going to touch on people's patterns and whatnot, but mostly this is how to pull off combos with Shaolin that make him feel really fun, like his crushing counters, his deflects, and just his kit in general. I also really quickly wanted to talk about some of his perks, which obviously pertains to fours, but I think that Remedy is probably one of the better ones you can get. Devour is good, but it requires an execution, which is not always available in a team fight. I think to go along with that, endurance, because you want to be able to do as much as you possibly can with some of these mix-ups and combos, and then Headhunter, because that gives you the permanent 12 health. For his feats, he has a lot of good options. For the first tier, I generally take Stealth. You can take the Key Trap. I generally don't like it because I like the cheeky kind of maneuvers that you can do with Stealth, like kick people over the edge or that sort of fun thing. His second and third tier feats, I think they're all pretty good. I'm not a huge fan of the Teleport, although, again, you can do some cheeky stuff with it. The Nikakubi gives you extra stam. The Winner's Advantage gives you extra damage on attacks. Both of those are really good. I think the Nikakubi is probably better. And the Invigorate and the Heal on Block feats are also really good to help make you a little more tanky. As far as fourth feat, I almost always take the Blessed Projection feat, especially if playing with teammates, because it allows you to kind of clutch save people. But the Mark for Death is also a very good one, but I take the Blessed Projection feat. So that's enough about that. Let's go into the training room for the first thing I'm going to cover, which is crushing counters. So first thing you'll notice here is that I'm going back with my light to not get blocked essentially, and then I'm just waiting for the window of him dashing, because a lot of Orochis will spam this move, and just characters with the dash move in general like to spam it when they panic, so it's more about getting them into that panic mode, and I'll show you an example right here. Okay, so this guy does pretty well at first. He manages to get revenge. And there's one dash attack. He still keeps his cool, he parries. Not dash attacking. And here I parry him. He's like, okay, there's a dash attack. Parry him again. Okay, now he's in panic mode. So I didn't get all of the crushing counters I wanted, but I got one, and then that was enough to kind of set the tone for how the rest of that fight was going to go. So this next clip is more of the same, and I wanted to really show how the crushing counter could be used as a pattern breaker, and there's a dodge on red reaction that a lot of people have, and this is a good way to break that. So this is me and my friends messing around, and I'm kind of trying to practice them here, but you can see anytime I do a light, he's sort of dodging it. But a lot of the time when you go for a grab, their dash attack will nullify it. So the cool thing about the Shaolin is if you just hold the light that they dodge, you can get that, and that allows me to break his pattern of thought just enough to get the grab and then get the win. I got hit and then bashed out of my stance a few times, so this is another way to get into it. If you hold the heavy after deflecting, you get right into your stance, and then if they're spamming the dash attack, you can just hold it and then get the crushing counter afterwards, and that's 42 damage, I think it says there, and that's a good deal of damage, especially for assassins who have very low health anyway. So here's that Zanhu again. I believe it's the first time we fought that match, and he doesn't really give me time to get into a light once I start trying, so I miss it there, and then he's just going to keep dash attacking. So see, he interrupted there, but I can get the deflect and go into it. So last bit on the crushing counters here. I think one of the coolest things about the Shaolin is you can hold the reaction and you can do an external crushing counter. So you can really use this in team fights to not only block somebody, but then get an attack on someone who might be full blocking or just avoiding a lot of stuff, because it's really difficult to avoid if you hit it. So spoiler alert, I don't survive this clip, but it's a good example of what I'm talking about here. So I get the light here, Hidakiri attacks me, and then I get the crushing counter on the Shinobi. And here again, get my stance. And there I managed to kill somebody. So here I want to talk about the downfalls of going for this too much. So this is us messing around again, and my friend's had enough of it. So he's like, no, I'm not coming at you while you're in that stance. So if you try to go for it too much, then you're just going to get predicted like anything else. So you have to go in, get some other stuff, and we'll talk about mix-ups later in the video. But then you see now that I've hit him once or twice and messed him up a little bit, I can get into the stance and get the counters again. You can see more panic options here, and the win. So then my second friend comes up, he's had enough, and he is going to show how I get punished for this. So I'm going for the deflect, I'm trying to get into the stance, back up, parry, go for the undodgeable here to punish the dodge, and then he can see that I go for the same side each time and just crushing counters it. So the key takeaway there is that in any fighting game, people develop patterns, and even if you're trying your best to negate them, you're a human being, you're always going to have them. So just keep that in mind, and then other people have habits too. So this next bit is, some people's habit is just to dodge away instead of do a dash attack. And so one of the great things about his key stance is his heavies end up being undodgeable, and they're a really great chase tool. And I want to show you kind of what I'm talking about. So right here in the training room, the distance doesn't look that great, but the thing to take away is that he's not rolling away, he's just standing motioning. So it's almost like there is an activation distance that needs to be met, but if they're rolling away after that, you'll still catch up to them. So here's an example of that. So we're in a big team fight, everyone's feeling flighty and just kind of pressing buttons at each other. The shinobi gets panicky, zones. He's gonna back up and throw something at me. Yep. And then watch his distance here. Now that was a huge distance. He was almost out of range already, and then he dodged, but I still was able to catch him and then get the execute. So here's another example, and this is just us messing around, and again, we're just sort of pressing buttons at each other. We may or may not have been drinking at this point. I start to get obliterated by his moveset. This was before the rework. And so I finally get the upper hand, it's my turn to press buttons, and you can see he starts to back away there, tries to roll, and I catch him anyway. And the other thing I want to point out is that how much pressure can be applied with that move. So here are a few things that can kind of help with your damage output. They're not necessarily guaranteed, but most of the time you can land them, and then it helps to kind of get into some other combos as well. So your deflect more or less counts as any heavy in your combo. You can see I went right into the light there, into the crushing combo we discussed earlier. Here I just hold it. And then here I go into the double heavy for the execute. This here is just the normal light heavy combo that he has, and it can go infinitely. But it's really useful in team fights if you switch your guard. The top light has a little bit of a leaping effect, so you can actually move pretty well. And I'll show an example of that right here. So obviously this isn't me, but this guy threw me off enough with this that I was pretty impressed by it, and I believe he actually ends up winning the team fight. But we're cornering on both sides here, double light. Here it is. And now watch the distance. He leaps pretty far with that second light, and it kind of got him out of there. So for this last part of the video, I just wanted to touch on some mix-ups that I thought were cool and sort of flashy, and that's sort of the whole point of this video, is to make flashy mix-ups and make Shaolin feel really fun. So here they are. The first mix-up is based off of his little flutter kick here, and the move that people are generally scared of, want to dodge or parry, is that unblockable top. It can only come from the top, so generally they'll just try to parry it. And so that's why this mix-up feels really good when you do it, because it feints into the GB, and a lot of the time they're already in the frames for their heavy to parry, and you get a GB most of the time. So this second mix-up is not one that works very well, but it is really fun to do, and it looks really cool. Your top unblockable heavy from key stance covers a lot of distance, and you can cancel it and go into other stuff like the GB there, but you can see there's the delay. The dash attack works a little better. Mostly it's just fun, and it kind of messes with me. I'm going to dash away from this guy just so you can kind of see how much distance this really covers. So like I said, there's quite a gap between the feint and the GB here, but it is a cool distance closure, and it just messes with people really well. So that's it. Please let me know down in the comments the next character you'd like me to do if you would like me to do this. I had a lot of fun making this video. Tell me things that I could include that I maybe didn't include, or just comments in general on it. And please, as always, be sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.